Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to It's Evil. I'm Meosha, your host. This radio series tells genuine crime stories involving real individuals. Simply things that we cannot explain. I usually say the creepiest crimes happens in small towns. Who knows, maybe it's because there's so many hidden secrets. In this season, we have 10 real terrifying episodes. Before we begin, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Gore Culture, your go-to source for newest horror movies, thrillers, sci-fi, and more, and my production company, M.V.B Films Productions, for making this episode possible. Welcome to It's Evil, Real Atlanta Cases. Georgia parents charged with starving 10-year-old son. The arrests of the Griffin's father and mother were first announced last week. Tyler and Kirsta Shenley briefly appeared in the Spalding County Court on Tuesday. They were due for a bond hearing but have not yet arranged legal representation for their defense. A judge sets a date of June 12th at 9 a.m. for the case to come back before the court, at which time I expect you to have a representation and will go forward with this case, the judge said. Griffin's parents, who are charged with attempted murder for allegedly starving and neglecting their 10-year-old son to the point where he weighed 36 pounds, Tyler and Kirsty Shinling faces charges including criminal attempt to commit a felony, 2 counts of attempted felony being malice murder and second-degree murder, false imprisonment, cruelty to children in the first, second, and third degree. According to authorities, in Spalding County, the child was found last week walking on his own by neighbors who asked if he was okay. He stated he was going to the store to get some food because he was hungry.
Matt Siegler is disturbed when he hears his next-door neighbors are accused of trying to starve their young son to death.
It's just not right for a parent to treat the kids like that.
According to the officials, and when officers responded, he asked to please not make him go back. Kim Scheingler, who lived next door to the Shinlings, said the neighbors who found the little boy said he was barefoot when she spotted him outside his window on the Westminster Circle. The child was described as very small and very thin, weighing 36 pounds. He was being treated in the hospital for malnutrition and low heart rate, but was in stable condition. Singler said she had no idea the child was 10 years old. She said when she would see him out on occasions, it would always be from a distance. He had on kind of big clothes. I thought he was, at most, 6 years old, Singler said. The parents' charges also includes first-degree cruelty to children, excessive physical and mental pain to the child when they intentionally withheld food from the juvenile for an extensive period of time. According to the warrants, this caused dental injury and disfiguration, for which they also withheld medical attention. It adds the parents locked the juvenile child inside the bedroom, leaving the child alone in the residence for extended periods of time and multiple occasions, with no access to lights, food, clothes, or adult interaction, as well as no hot or warm running water. 11 Alive learned that the Shinlings owned True Rest Spas in Peachtree City and one in Tennessee.
The boy was so badly malnourished, the DA said Tuesday, it's one of the worst cases of child abuse she has ever seen.
It is my true belief that had he not gotten out of the home, that this case would be a very different one.
Anybody that does that to a child or to anybody, I hope they get their due punishment.
What a sad case. You never know who could be the monster, and sometimes it's even closer than you think. Story number 2. Angela Rambante. After 2 years, family gets the closure in case of Atlanta's dancer found dead in woods. Exotic dancer in Atlanta, Georgia, all tell nightmarish tale about disrespectful patrons and jealous boyfriends, but the story of Angela Rambante, a 26-year-old dancer whose body was found in the woods in spring 2014, continues to resonate in the city of the strip clubs and neon lights. Police believe that Angela Rabante was a popular dancer who performed under the name Climax, was killed March 29, 2014, because she had a run-in with a man who was close to her, and she was trying to tell her manager and boyfriend at the same time. After 2 years of legal wrangling, including a mistrial, Charles Thomas Outlaw was convicted in August 2016 of the murder of Rabante. According to our documents, Outlaw had told friends that things accidentally happened between the two after he gave her a ride home from dancing one night.
I've been going through a lot of that's been happening on the daily. It's a lot that like you're not even understanding because you don't know about that I'm dealing with.
Before Outlaw was even arrested, he was making phone calls to his girlfriend where he was telling her that he had a big story to tell her, that she was going to be mad at him.
Was something bad?
I mean, yeah, it's bad.
Rabante was a caring person, a mother to a 6-year-old girl. The child is being raised by her father. She will never know what it's like to have a mother who loves her for the rest of her life. Daryl Campbell, Rabante's former boyfriend, said in court during Outlaw's sentencing. Campbell said he never trusted Outlaw. He was just the perfect criminal. I never had any doubt he was involved, because his stories never added up, even from the beginning, he told WCGL 2 years ago. The victim's mother, Judy Rabante, said that she had always suspected Outlaw knew more than he had let on about the slaying, which sent shockwaves around Atlanta's adult dancing community.
When I got a phone call that she hadn't checked on her daughter, I knew something was wrong. If I sent her a text, she would answer me. If I called her, she would call me. She would have responded to me. So I knew instantly something was not right.
I had a very long conversation with him when she went missing, the mother told Gwyneth Daily Post. The story kept changing. I never believed it from the get-go because he couldn't get the story straight. According to testimony called from investigator Bert Ross, Outlaw shot Rabante while he was giving her a ride home. The two got into an argument about Rabante after Rabante had performed a bachelor party earlier that night. Police said he dumped her body near a roadside and continued on his way.
After he picked up Angela that night, that he was complaining to her that he had to drive all the way to the other end of the city to get her. I got the impression from him while speaking with him that he wanted something more from the relationship than what she was willing to provide to him. However, every time I would ask him directly, did you want to be romantically involved with Angela, he would tell me no.
He told us that he parked his car here in this parking lot and left Angela inside the car while he decided to walk to his girlfriend's house. And then as he came through the walkway, he entered into this trail. He led me down this trail until we eventually got further into the woods back here and walked approximately a quarter mile into these woods, deeper into these woods, in the middle of the night, with seemingly nowhere to really know exactly where he was going. So it just seemed very odd and suspicious at the time.
Later, it would be revealed that he would ask acquaintances about how to dispose of shell casings and whether a disabled cell phone could be tracked. Outlaw's first trial ended in a mistrial after prosecutors hung the case by accidentally playing an interview that mentioned Outlaw's previous criminal record. According to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the defense team seized on the mistake and insisted the judge that there was no way the Outlaw could get a fair trial. Campbell, speaking in Atlanta TV station WGCL in July 2014, said that his daughter was confused as to why her mother was no longer present in her life. It is so sad, Campbell said, because she's asked questions. When is mommy coming home? When is mommy coming out of the sky? And I just don't know how to answer those questions. Outlaw was a calculated killer. He was apprehended by police while among a search party looking for Rabante's body.
He murdered my daughter, and he can spend the rest of his life in prison for it. How can somebody take such a beautiful life? How can you do that? From all the friends, the family that loved her. Because Angie could always make you smile, no matter what. And he robbed us all of that.
Wow. How tragic is this story? Outlaw was out searching for Rabante's body, and all along, he knew that he was the killer. Please, stay safe. Story number 3. 17 months after 12-year-old found dead in woods, Atlanta police still looking for clues in case. David Mack was shot 6 times and left in woods near his Atlanta home in 2021. Police provided updates in the case on Thursday. It's been more than a year since 12-year-old was found dead near his home in the woods. Atlanta Police Department officers are putting the case into the spotlight once again, hoping someone comes forward with information that will help solve the murder investigation.
And as we approach the beginning of the school year, it's important that we're mindful that our kids are important to us as well. But on that day, a 12-year-old was shot and killed in our city of Atlanta. And we're asking the community, we're asking friends, we're asking people who we believe has information on that particular homicide of David Mack to come forward and let us know what happened. We're asking people to call Crime Stoppers where they can remain anonymous. But it's important to us, as Chief Shearbaum stated. Our detectives assigned to the homicide unit spend countless hours trying to solve cases. And many cases are solved by the commitment and the cooperation from our community. And so this is a plea that we ask you to do the right thing and help us bring closure to this family that's been suffering for the last 17 months. Major Peak will go into a little bit more great detail of that case. But again, our plea is to help us so we can help this family bring closure to this 12-year-old.
David was supposed to be visiting a friend on February 9th, 2021, but did not return home. The last time his grandmother heard he was alive when he called her as she was driving home, asking for permission to go and saying he loved her before hanging up the phone. He never made it to his friend's home. He FaceTimed his friend and said that he was going somewhere else in the neighborhood. The friend asked if he could join. He said all he saw was David's face, but he heard someone else's voice saying, "No." His body was found a day later, and police said someone had also beaten him up.
As you heard, David Mack was 12 years of age at the time he was killed. David Mack was a grandson, loved dearly by his grandmother, a son, brother, and friends to many in the neighborhood. He was reported missing on February 9th, 2001 by his grandmother because he failed to return home. Tragically, he was found deceased within 24 hours on February 10th, within a half mile of his home. Investigators continue to follow up on leads that come in. However, they slowed down since the last press conference. We've recanvassed the neighborhood. Investigators strongly believe with the public's help, we can bring this case to a close and bring the person or persons involved in his death to justice. The Mack family, the Atlanta Police Department, and particularly Homicide Investigator Malone, asks that if you have any information, please contact the Atlanta Police Homicide Office, Crime Stoppers, regardless of how minute you think that information you have related to David Mack. It may just be what we need to break this case, to find a motive and bring someone to justice.
A year after his disappearance, David's family felt someone out there knew something about the 12-year-old's death, and they agreed. 17 months later, they still feel the same way, but no one has stepped forward with information on the case. Investigators continue to follow up on the leads that come in. However, they've slowed down since. Glenda said her heart grieves every time a child is killed in Atlanta and all over the world. "I want this to stop," she said. "I just don't know. Is this going to be the way the world is from now on? It's crazy." Crime Stoppers Atlanta is offering $10,000 in reward in the case. Well, we do hope justice will be served. If not today, someday. Until next time, stay safe.